Welcome in, everybody. A late edition of Right on Rangers Live. What a game. Oh, my goodness. And I don't know if I was alone in this. I'm surely not, but literally had to flick back and forth between the Mavs ending and the Rangers ending like every single break I could. It was high stress tonight. We needed a minute after that one, but we are here ready to talk through all of the key moments of this Rangers game. And there were a lot of them. There were a lot of key moments and crazy moments, and we're going to break them all down for you. We'll also talk a little bit of Mavs as well at the end, maybe mix in a little bit of Stars too. So we'll try and cover all of the three major teams that are still playing right now in the Dallas Fort Worth area. But before we get started, just wanted to let all of y'all know that are new to the channel here at Right on Rangers. We cover everything sports, but we try to put a little bit of an extra emphasis on all the teams we love from the great state of Texas, including the Rangers. Thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate your support. So let's get started here. And let's kind of go with, I'd say, chronological order tonight because there's just so much to unpack. There's so many topics that I want to get to tonight. Let's just try and go in order just to keep my mind straight here. So let's start with Jose Ureña. Jose Ureña had an incredible game tonight, and it just amazes me how much the Rangers are squeezing out of their starting pitching right now. It's incredible. Jose Ureña, another one of those guys who was signed in the offseason, and you kind of say to yourself, huh, yeah, nothing exciting. It's not a big splash. Jose Ureña came up with the Marlins, and at the time when he came up with the Marlins, he was kind of a little bit of a flamethrower pitcher. He did have some good years and some promise with the Marlins, but then he kind of bounced around a little bit, found himself in kind of a relief type role. With the Rangers' injuries, he's being asked to start. And I don't know if you could be any more pleased with the effort you're getting out of him. I'd have to look at all of his starts combined to really get a good feel for it. But feels like the last few times out, and I'm going to pull up the game log right now just so I can be sure. But it feels like last three games. Yep, right on. Last three games, one earned run tonight, two earned runs against Colorado, one earned run against Oakland. So you're talking about a guy in his last three starts that's given up 4 runs. That's incredible from the role that you expected Jose Ureña to fill this year. I'm sure the Rangers thought to themselves, this is a guy that can give us some starts. But at the same time, I don't know if you're expecting Jose Ureña to go on a 3 game stretch where he's only giving up 4 runs in those 3 games. That's awesome. Way above what you're expecting from Jose Ureña. So I think that the Rangers have to be counting their blessings that the starting pitching is holding together this well, considering the plethora of injuries that the Rangers have had to deal with, both in the pitching rotation, the bullpen, and in the starting lineup. So Jose Ureña, got to tip your cap to him. Can't forget about him in this crazy long 13 inning game. Can't forget about Jose Ureña giving up 1 run over 6 innings. He walked one, gave up 4 hits. So you're talking about 5 base runners in 6 innings from Jose Ureña. Incredible, incredible start from him. He's absolutely, in my mind, one of the players of the game. You really felt for a long time in this game like they were about to waste another solid Jose Ureña start. They should have won when Ureña pitched in the Colorado series. They didn't. The offense was totally inept on that day. And Ureña, I think, was the tough luck loser in that game. So Ureña goes 6 2/3 against Colorado, gives up 2 runs, and he's the loser. I mean, he needed I think a little bit more run support tonight than what he got. I'm sure he's just happy that the team got the win, but it is just crazy how little run support we give some of the pitchers in our rotation that are just pitching the lights out. Like, I mean, way above what we expected. So to see Jose Ureña do what he did tonight, granted, this Angels offense is not good. This is a terrible lineup up and down. I mean, you've got Taylor Ward hitting in the 3 hole, and you've got Willie freaking Calhoun hitting 4 spot. Willie Calhoun. And I know some of the Rangers fans that have been around a while now remember Willie Calhoun's time with the Rangers, not known for being the best teammate, not known for playing particularly well either. So for me to see Willie Calhoun absolutely light us up last night, Friday night, it was painful because I think Willie Calhoun clearly is hanging on by a thread in the major leagues, but has no business hitting in a 4 spot in a major league lineup. But there he is for the Angels, getting 4 hits off of us last night. I think he cooled off tonight, but this Angels lineup is not good. Without Mike Trout, it's really bad. With Trout, it gets a little bit better, but nevertheless, I think when Trout was playing, he's obviously out with a knee injury right now. But when Trout was playing, they didn't even have him hitting 3 spot. Trout was hitting leadoff when he was actually playing this year. Ron Washington had bumped him up to the number 1 spot in the lineup. And I have not heard Wash's commentary on that, why that decision was made. But Trout was hitting leadoff. He wasn't even hitting 3 spots. So this is kind of who they throw out there in the 3 and 4 spot every night. It's bad. And so you kind of expect the Rangers to have success pitching wise against a team like the Angels. Right? This is not an Angels team that is supposed to be scoring 9 runs off of you like they did last night. So the Rangers tonight did a great job shutting down the Angels throughout the game. We had to start with Jose Ureña. And let's move to Adolis Garcia. A lot of talking on this podcast, and I know just around Rangers Nation in general, about Dolly. Is he injured? He doesn't look like himself. Dolly is still driving the ball with power. And I think that the Rangers, regardless of what he may have going on injury wise, are going to take whatever they can get from Dolly right now. I don't think that they're at all displeased to see him still able to drive the ball out of the ballpark despite whatever ailments he may have going on. There was a play out in right field that kind of got in between Simeon and Garcia. I don't even know if Garcia is fully healthy. If he makes that play, it would have been a really tough play. Him and Simeon kind of collided out there. But look, Garcia does have his moments where he looks like he's loafing a little bit out there. I'm sure that there's some kind of ailment going on. He's not 100%, but he's still able to give you that power from the 4 spot. We'll take it. And he had a huge at bat tonight to make the game a 1-1 ball game. And when Taylor Ward hit that home run off of Ureña, I must admit, I just thought to myself, here we go again. All right, this is going to be a 1-0, 2-1 ball game. And this might be the home run that ends up losing us this game, which is so sad to say out loud with this Rangers offense and the kind of star power that we have on it. But I really did feel when Taylor Ward hit that home run, just a little sink in my stomach, thinking about how inept the offense has been over the past week or so. It's had its bright spots. Dolly, Simi hitting the 2 bombs against the Guardians on Wednesday. Tonight, it came to life at times here and there. Dolly's home run in the bottom of the 6th, 105 miles an hour off the bat. That was absolutely one of the times. And man, Dolly, he just knows how to pimp a home run, doesn't he? I mean, he can do that with the best of them. It's always fun watching that dude hit a homer. Absolutely. So I'm glad that Garcia is able to come through in that spot. Feel like it did kind of wake things up a little bit. It is just so frustrating. I know that y'all have heard me harp on this, but one of my biggest pet peeves, I have a lot of them. So you're gonna hear all of them at some point. But one of my biggest pet peeves is when you go up or when you tie the game. So you either score a run to take the lead, you tie the game, you put up runs on the board in general, and then the very next inning or in the bottom half of the inning, you give it right back. That is one of the worst things you can do in baseball. And for Jose Leclerc to come in and give up a home run to Joe Adell, in the top of the seventh inning, right after Adolis Garcia has tied the game. Those are killers. Those are absolute killers. When you give up home runs immediately after a huge moment that truly energized your team, that looked pretty lifeless up to that point in the bottom of the sixth inning. I mean, the Rangers had 0 runs, a familiar sight all the way through, and it was just not looking pretty. So for Leclerc to come in and give up that bomb, really disappointing. And Leclerc, honestly, is the only one in the bullpen that you can really get on today because the rest of the bullpen was absolutely phenomenal. Phenomenal. I mean, if you count up their numbers, Hernandez, Yates, Robertson, and Rodriguez, we're talking about 6 innings of scoreless baseball. Leclerc obviously gives up the bomb, but you have Hernandez, Yates, Robertson, Rodriguez going 6 total innings, giving up no hits. I think that's, I mean, that in and of itself, how impressive is that? So the bullpen throws 6 innings of no hit baseball if you take away Jose Leclerc. Leclerc gives up the home run in the top of the seventh, and the Rangers don't give up a hit after that from their bullpen. And over that 6 innings, you had 8 strikeouts. So, I mean, the bullpen tonight, along with Jose Ureña, give them a players of the game because they truly, truly kept us in this ball game. It's not easy to come in, especially in extra innings, which I'm not a fan of the extra innings rule. I've done a few different videos on this, but I dislike the extra innings rule very strongly. I understand the heart behind it. So the heart behind it is basically you're saving guys' arms. The bullpen isn't going forever and ever, and then it's a quick turnaround the next day. It's basically that pace of play argument plus saving some guys' arms. I'd rather, and I know some people, this might drive you nuts, but I'd rather the game end in a tie than them do the extra inning ghost runner on second thing. That's what they actually do over, I believe, in the Korean League. I think they might do it in the Japanese League as well. I actually think it's just fine for the regular season. Of course, in the postseason, you play it straight up. But the way that it works overseas is you just give each team basically a tie and you work it into the overall win percentage. I would much rather them do that. I don't like how it potentially blows up player stats, right? So if it's a tie game and you give up the lead and your team loses, you get the blown save, you get the loss. Baseball is a very statistic driven sport. And I just don't like the way that it changes those stats and those numbers. You're getting guys who are getting blown saves and losses that really don't deserve them because there's a ghost runner sitting out there on second base to start every single inning. So back to the original point, for all those relievers for the Rangers to come in with a runner on second and to not give up a single hit or run, incredibly impressive. A lot of guys don't like coming in when it's not a clean inning. I don't want to say it's a rare breed, but it's not a common breed for guys to come in with people on base and to do really, really well. Now, yes, these are major leaguers. Of course, you expect some guys to be able to get the job done, no doubt, but it's just not an easy situation when you're coming in with that ghost runner on second base. So the bullpen needs major props, especially some guys that I know I've given a really hard time to. They shut me right up tonight because Jonathan Hernandez came in and looked absolutely filthy tonight. And that ERA for Hernandez is down to 289. I mean, look, it's easy to overreact game by game, and I'm guilty of it as well. But Jonathan Hernandez, he pitched very well tonight. 2 strikeouts, ERA down to 289. Got to give him his flowers. Same thing for Yerry Rodriguez. I have been such a critic of Yerry Rodriguez. In fact, just a couple days ago, no idea why he's still up with the big league club. And tonight, albeit it's a bad Angels lineup, but nevertheless, they're major league hitters. And Rodriguez goes 2 innings pitched, walks one, no hits allowed, and strikes out 1. ERA is now down to 6.32, so that tells you something about the struggles he's had so far. But I must give Rodriguez credit. Yerry Rodriguez, I did not expect him to pitch 2 shutout innings tonight. In fact, I was almost certain that's when the game was going to come to an end. Big inning, and the Rangers aren't going to be able to match what the Angels do in the top half. That's what I expected when Yerry Rodriguez came into the game. I just got to be honest, got to admit it. Didn't have confidence that that was going to go well. It did, and I'm so happy that it did. If you can get Gary Rodriguez and Jonathan Hernandez pitching like that, that solves a lot of problems for this Rangers bullpen. We've talked about Jonathan Hernandez. He has the stuff. Jonathan Hernandez has the stuff to be a very, very good relief pitcher in this game. The control is an issue. So to see him walk no guys tonight, absolutely love it. Love it. I hope that this continues. I hope maybe this is what gives some of these guys like Hernandez, like Rodriguez, some confidence. And now we can move into the rest of the season and maybe count on those guys a little bit. Look, I'm not going to hold my breath, but I am going to be hopeful, glass half full, that maybe this is the start of something good for these guys. That's my hope. So, Ureña, bullpen, those 2 factors, huge tonight. We talked about the Dolly bomb to tie the game at 1. Now let's get into the extra innings themselves. Let's actually talk about some of the crazy things that happened in extras. So let's start with the bottom of the 10th inning. So we had, I believe, in the top of the 10th, Robertson pitching his second, I believe, maybe, yep, pitching his second inning. Bottom of the 10th, after Robertson retires the side, we have Jankowski hit a great line drive into right field. And I was actually watching the game with my brother-in-law, and he and I turned to each other and were just like, that's game. That's game. It didn't look like the ball was right at Joe Adell out there. Looked like he was moving a little bit to his right. Now, as I watched the replay, it looked like Josh Smith was a little bit late on the read. Looked like he kind of hesitated. Didn't look like he got a great read. Kind of stopped for a second. You know, when you get a great read, you pretty much immediately take off. So didn't get a great read, but Tony Beasley, who, by the way, sang an outstanding national anthem, YouTube that if you haven't seen it. Tony Beasley, Rangers third base coach, that dude has some chops. Did not know he could sing that well. I was very impressed. Was not so impressed with the decision to send Josh Smith in that moment when you've got no outs, you've got runners. You would have had runners at first and third at that point, and you have the top of the order starting to come back up. Josh Smith was out by a lot. It wasn't even close. And like I said, I'm like celebrating. I thought, oh my goodness, Josh Smith is not like slow either. I thought for sure that Jankowski hit in the bottom of the 10th was the game winner. So you've got Jankowski fortunately advancing to second on the throw that gets Josh Smith at the plate. And so you're thinking to yourself, basically, all right, pretend that Jankowski just got out. And then Estevez, the Angels closer, I believe, or one of their high leverage relievers, bounces one, and Jankowski gets to third with 1 out. And this is where it gets tough. And you know, we don't want to bring the vibes down on a night where we win, but the Rangers just have to be better with their situational hitting. They just have to be. Even in the last inning, it wasn't great. Ezekiel Duran struggled to get a bunt down. This is just not a team for me that gets asked to play small ball enough, and it shows when they actually have to execute it. There have been some times where this team has been able to play small ball, but I would like for this team, especially a team that is struggling, to be able to play small ball, to manufacture runs. When the offense is going this poorly, you need that so badly. Now, Duran redeems himself. gets a hit, and I believe, yep, on a line drive to the first baseman. But then after that, we had Leote back to the bottom of the 10th, popping up to shallow left when all you really needed was a ground ball somewhere or some kind of sac fly deep. Leote's not able to come through. And we did talk a little bit about Leote. Like, I think it's easy with box scores and stats to put him in a vacuum. And it's just more than that, because you really have to be able to look at the whole picture. And some of the Rangers players have decent numbers, but when it actually matters, when you need a clutch hit, seventh, eighth, ninth inning, later, it's not there. And Leote, for me, he might have good numbers. He reached base a bunch, and I know he had a nice on base streak going. I don't know if that's still continuing or not, but with Leote there, those are the kinds of at bats that you want to see from your bottom of the order guys. You want to see guys, hey, they just know I've got to put the ball in play here, and I've got to drive it. I've got to be picking out a pitch that I can drive. And so for Leote there, not coming through with a runner on third and one out, huge missed opportunity for him. I really want to see Leote start to come through in some of these clutch moments. You don't even need a hit, you just need productive outs, and that's situational hitting. So Leote not able to come through. Simi grounds out to end the bottom of the 10th. Top of the 11th, we had Robertson sitting down the side once again. And then in the bottom of the 11th, you have Corey Seager getting intentionally walked. And then you just had two terrible at bats by Nate Lowe and Adolis Garcia, both of them letting fastballs right down the middle go by in the at bat. And for me, when you're a lefty, Nate Lowe being a lefty, there's a lot of different ways that you can get that runner over to third base. A lot of different ways that you can do it. And you can hit a deep fly ball to right field. That's easily going to get somebody over to third base. And you just have to be sitting on something that you can drive a fastball. And to see Nate Lowe really take a few pitches that just were like right there. And Dolly kind of did the same thing. He let one go right down the middle and then ends up striking out swinging. Nate Lowe gets called out on strikes. That's just not what you want to see from the middle of the order there. After Corey Seager is intentionally walked, we have got to have Nate Lowe and Dolly really protecting Seager a lot better than that, because teams are just going to continue to do that regardless of what Corey Seager's average is. Teams are just going to continue to walk him in big spots, especially if they know that there's guys coming up that maybe they can get out. Maybe they can, throw some fastballs by him, or they won't have quality at bats, won't be locked in. Seager, obviously, it's a totally different story. It's very rare Corey Seager gives an at bat away. So I really feel, really feel like Dolly and Nate Lowe in that spot needed to be better. And it did feel like after that wasted opportunity, Jonah Heim pops out. We go to the 12th. Felt like, again, you have Yeri Rodriguez coming in, and it's not looking good. It's just not looking good. But after the substitution, Yeri Rodriguez gets Luis Guillermo to ground into a double play, and then he gets the strike three to end the inning. And then bottom of the 12th, we had some craziness again, man. We had Josh Smith coming up after an Evan Carter walk. This was the inning to me in the bottom of the 12th, by the way. In the bottom of the 12th, you have Carter, Smith, Jankowski. Why is not one of those guys being asked to bunt? So you get an Evan Carter walk. I know Josh Smith has been hitting well, but you have your bottom of the order basically up, and you don't even give one thought to bunting any of those guys. That was a little bit odd to me. I mean, Evan Carter, don't know what his bunting ability is, but he's like the third fastest guy in baseball. He puts one down on the ground. Who knows what happens? This is what I mean. I just want the Rangers utilize your speed, play the small ball a little bit more. bunt the ball, advance runners over, steal bases, manufacture some runs, especially when you know that this offense is not doing so well right now. I mean, I was a little bit baffled by the decision to just let all of those guys swing away in the bottom of the 12th inning. I want to see more small ball out of this Rangers club, especially in the bottom of the order. Those guys should be money with the bunts, money with the hit and runs. At least that's what you should be having them practice. Sure, they're going to get plenty of healthy cuts in BP swinging away, but get those guys at the bottom of the order good at the small game. That makes a huge difference, especially with guys with speed like Carter, even Ezekiel Duran. To see him whiff on 2 bunt attempts tonight, ridiculous. That guy is so fast. He should be a pro bunter, especially coming in off the bench. They have the big conversation with him. You can see Bochy talking to him. Dude, come on, get a bunt down. I mean, that was obviously the next inning in the bottom of the 13th, but I thought that it was probably 1 inning too late. Bottom of the 12th, I thought it was prime bunting opportunity. Josh Smith did give the baseball a ride in the bottom of that 12th inning. He lined out to Guillermo at second base, and then Jankowski grounds into the double play. Yuri Rodriguez goes 1, 2, 3 in the top of the 13th. And again, Yuri Rodriguez, what a game from him. Extremely impressive. Him and Jonathan Hernandez, got to give them props tonight. And then the game winning inning, the bottom of the 13th. Like I said, Duran asked to bunt a couple times, doesn't get him down, is able to get a base hit. Simeon lined out to third base, and I'll tell you what, I thought Jankowski was about to get picked off. He kind of froze, right? Didn't really know exactly if that ball was going to get past or not, and he just barely gets back. So Simeon, he hit the ball hard, no doubt. It's just one of those atom balls, like right at somebody. But that was almost like fatal for the Rangers. And that could have been really bad. Jankowski barely gets back. Seager gets walked again, man. Was it 2 or 3 intentional walks tonight? Looks like it was 2. 2 intentional walks for Corey Seager, man. They didn't want any part of him. It's smart. Very smart, especially with Siegs coming along a little bit. He was 2 for 4 tonight, walked twice, so he was on base 4 times. I think we're seeing some very good signs of life from Corey Seager, getting that average closer to 250 on the year. But after that, we have Nate Lowe coming up, and I believe at that point it was bases loaded, right? 1 out, and you're just thinking, man, anything here. Sack fly, ground ball gets past somebody, something. And was it first pitch? First pitch or second pitch? Hit by pitch, game over. I mean, it's just such a kind of a fitting way for the game to end, honestly. I mean, two teams that just could not get it done in the clutch tonight, and you have a hit by pitch walking it off for the win. I mean, a very, I think, fitting way for this game to end. So, by the way, looking at runners in scoring position here, the Angels were 0 for 18 tonight. 0 for 18 with runners in scoring position. You can't make this up. You can't. And the Rangers, not too much better. Rangers were 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Not very good either. Not very good either. Um, I do have to kind of agree. This is one of those games where you're thankful that you got the win. So let's be glass half full, but let's also reflect on the fact that this game literally wanted to end so many different times, and these teams just couldn't oblige, couldn't get it done. I mean, there were so many opportunities for these teams to win this game, and it just never happened. So, look, the Rangers will take this win, especially on a night, and I'm checking this right now. I don't want to speak too soon. The Rangers will take this win, especially on a night when the Astros lose, and the Astros are climbing in the standings, y'all. They're climbing. It's not good. I think they're within 3 or 4 games of the Rangers now. I think the win tonight for the Rangers puts a little bit more distance. Rangers have 24 wins. Stros have 20. And Rangers have 23 losses. So 3.5 game difference. Astros, I think I've won like 7 of their last 9 games. So I'm keeping my eye on them. I told y'all they're kind of inevitable. You think that they're having a terrible start and they can't climb out of that hole. Here they are, 6 games below 500. I mean, they're going to be a factor down the stretch. I just feel it. I think that they have too much talent on that team to not make some kind of push late. So we need as much distance as possible. So to take advantage of the Astros losing tonight, that's huge. Going around the rest of the AL West, we had, looks like, the Mariners beating the Orioles in Baltimore. The Mariners are 25-21. I believe they hold a game and a half advantage over the Rangers. The A's played the Royals and lost. So here's how the AL West standings look right now. So we've got Seattle up a game and a half, Rangers second place, 3.5 games up on Houston. Rangers are 5.5 games up on Oakland and are 6.5 games up on the Angels. So that is the AL West roundup for you. And as we look at the game tomorrow, let's start heading that way right now. You look at the game for tomorrow. Rangers are going to be throwing Lorenzen, and the Angels are throwing Soriano, a right-handed pitcher. So we finally get a break from the lefties. My goodness, I mean, it is lefty kryptonite at this point. I mean, Sandoval is not a bad pitcher. He's a good pitcher, just like Tyler Anderson. I don't think Tyler Anderson sucks. I don't think Patrick Sandoval sucks. I think they're good pitchers. Do I think that they're pitchers that need to be putting up like a one earned run stat line against us? No, absolutely not. Rangers have a left-handed pitching problem. They do. I'm glad that they won and squeaked it out tonight. I'm glad it ended up working out, but it's a problem, y'all. I don't know what the Rangers are going to do. I think they're going to wait it out. Hopefully, try and get Josh Young back, who absolutely crushes lefties. And maybe there's a click there. Maybe there's some good vibes given off there, and the Rangers just start hitting lefties again when Josh Young comes back. That's got to be what they're hoping for. If that does not solve the problem, I think you got to be looking for a right-handed bat at the deadline. Somebody that you can plug in. I don't think that Robbie Grossman at this point is the guy. I think he's a nice piece, but he's hitting 198 right now. Robbie Grossman is a feel-good trade move. It's a nice story. I don't think Robbie Grossman is who you want in October as your left-handed starting pitcher, DH. I don't feel good about that. I would like to see them go out and make a move for a right-handed bat if that's the plan. I hope that Josh Young comes back and it solves a lot of problems. We kind of talked about him being the glue of the lineup, especially against lefties. I mean, Josh Young was hitting third a lot against lefties, and I believe he hit close to 350 last year against lefties. So Josh Young is definitely going to make a difference when he gets back, no doubt. We'll see if the Rangers decide that they need to add another piece or if they're going to let it ride with who they have, assuming Josh Young comes back soon. I'm interested to see what happens there. But for tomorrow's game, let's do a little bit of a preview here. So again, Lorenzen going up against Soriano, and Soriano 3.72 ERA on the year, right-handed pitcher. Doesn't look like the Rangers have a ton of at-bats against him. Tavares has seen him once. Nate Lowe's seen him once. Heim's seen him once. And Doley's seen him once. Nobody's gotten a hit off of him. But there's a lot of Rangers that have never faced him before. So we'll see what happens. Lorenzen on the other side. The only player looks like that's hit home runs off of him is Rengifo. Rengifo has got 2 homers, hitting 500, 3 for 6 with 2 homers. So Renjifo might be a guy that you stay away from tomorrow. Otherwise, nobody that really, really scares you beyond that. We've got, I think Tucker, the third baseman, is like hitting 3 for 5. It's a very small sample size for a lot of these guys. I think Lorenzen's going to be just fine. Lorenzen 2-2 with a 3.75 ERA on the year. So Lorenzen, I think, has pitched another one of those guys that's pitched really well, probably above what you expected he would do. So the Rangers have to be really happy with what they're getting from these guys like Lorenzen, like Ureña, Andrew Heaney, a lot of these guys that you didn't really expect to be like top of the line, shut down guys. But Lorenzen, Ureña, Heaney, you can pretty much count on them to have a quality start or have a good chance of a quality start almost every time out. So I'm definitely feeling better about the matchup tomorrow than I did today. I told y'all last night I didn't feel great about the matchup today with Sandoval going. I think this was one of our closest score predictions. So we predicted Rangers win 4-3 today. Obviously, Rangers win 3-2, just a little bit off of that. I think that was probably our closest score prediction collectively as a whole. We've had it where like we've predicted the like one of the teams correct totals, but then the other one was like way off. So collectively, I think this was probably the closest score prediction I've ever had. Said 4-3 before the game. 3-2 is how it ended. I just felt like this was going to be a low scoring, very tight game with LA throwing their lefty today, and it did end up turning out that way. Super super tight game throughout. Fortunate the Rangers can get a win. I think they'll take it, no doubt. Hopefully, you can get a series win tomorrow in the rubber match. You just did not want to lose this series to the Angels, and obviously that would have happened if they would have lost tonight. And then you're just trying not to get swept tomorrow. So much better position for the Rangers going into Sunday's game with a chance to win the series before an off day. That's got to be nice. I know it's tough. The Rangers had such a crazy stretch of games early on. They're getting some off days in there. I'm sure that they're loving that. They had Thursday off. They get Monday off as well. That's great. I'm glad that they're going to be getting some rest because it's not easy when you're playing 17, 18 games in a row. By the way, after the day off, the Rangers head back out on the road and they will go play the Philadelphia Phillies on Tuesday. Nobody announced yet for that game, but I'd imagine it's probably going to be John Gray. I mean that's what I would think. I know that Evo is kind of creeping back. Maybe we'll see him sometime in early June, maybe the very, very end of May. But I would imagine John Gray throws in that night game in Philadelphia on Tuesday. And it looks like we will be playing Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then maybe a 3-game set Thursday. Okay. So Thursday's a day game. And then heading into the weekend, Rangers play the Twins in Minnesota. So we have got Angels tomorrow, and then we've got Phillies and Twins. Twins have maybe cooled off a little bit. They're 24-21 right now. The Phillies are good. It's going to be a tough series in Philadelphia. Phillies are 33-14, one of the best teams in baseball. That Philly series is going to be one to watch. I mean, look, the Rangers do tend, last year especially, they tend to play up to the competition. It would not shock me to see them go to Philadelphia and something clicks. That being said, I'm not going to be surprised if it goes the other way. But the Rangers are a weird team where against the bad teams, they struggle, but then they go and play a road series really, really well. So, I mean, you look at what happened last year at the end of the season. They went to Seattle, lost 3 of 4, lost the division to the Astros. Then they go on the road to Tampa Bay across the country and they rattle off 2 straight wins like it's nothing. Rangers are a weird team. They're just an odd team. It's why we love them, but they do have this habit of just playing down to the competition and playing up to the competition, at least from my vantage point. So I'll be excited for the weekend series that's coming up with the Twins and the midweek series that is fast approaching with the Phillies. Beyond that, though, we'll talk about Mavs really quick. But first, the Stars win last night. Man, we've had some long marathons here the past couple of days. The Stars, of course, going into double overtime, getting the win, going on to the Western Conference Finals. Congrats to them. Should be interesting to see who they face. It'll either be Vancouver or Edmonton. I'm sure it'll be a tough matchup either way, but the Stars do look very good. They look a little bit of a cut above at this point. Hopefully, it's their year. That sure would be fun. Mavs and Stars getting it done same year. And the Mavs tonight, after being down 16 at halftime, make the comeback. And it was quite the finish, wasn't it? PJ Washington hitting some clutch free throws to give the Mavs the 1 point victory. That was a thrilling win, a thrilling win. And I think what you saw there is just this team exerting their will, and they have a way of doing that this year that I've just not seen in the past. With Gafford, with Lively, I think Lively had like 15 boards tonight. So to see this Mavs team look how they do, just a dominating presence inside. It's something that I think as Mavs fans we've always complained about. Like when we had Dwight Powell as our starting center, no disrespect to him, but look, you're not going to win an NBA championship with Dwight Powell as your primary big guy. So for them to go out and get the guys that they did to surround Luka and Kyrie with, I think it's a great match, and it's been showing on the court. I think that the Mavs have a good shot in the Western Conference Finals, whoever they play, whether it's the Timberwolves, whether it's the Nuggets. When you've got Kyrie and Luka, it's two guys that I would say are among the most elite in the NBA, especially come playoff time. It's going to be hard to beat. Not saying it's going to be easy for the Mavs, but I feel very, very good about their chances. I really do. In a way that I haven't necessarily felt before. 2 years ago, 3 years ago, whenever it was, when they played Golden State, I can't say the confidence level was super, super high against the Warriors. I feel a little bit different this year. This team just has a little bit of a different vibe. I think this could be a year that they make their deepest run since 2011, right? I don't think haven't been back to the finals since then. Sure would be fun. Mavs and Stars both in the Western Conference Finals. You gotta love it. And right now, as we kind of close things down a little bit here, we've been going for a while, but Jose Ureña, I'm just checking out some comments, just scrolling through here, so bear with me. But Jose Ureña, got to give him, I think, consideration for, if not player of the game for sure. I mean, 6 innings pitched. He did give up the home run to Taylor Ward, who's a decent hitter. I mean, nothing special, but he's a decent hitter. He's got some pop. So Jose Ureña, I mean, he's given up 4 earned runs in his past 3 starts. That's phenomenal. I don't think anybody, no Rangers fan expected Jose Ureña to do what he's doing right now. I think most of us expect, okay, he's going to go 5, probably give up 3 every single start. Jose Ureña has given up 4 earned runs in his past 3 starts. He has been very, very good. Last 3 starts, Oakland, Colorado, LA. Granted, none of those teams are the top teams in baseball, but it doesn't matter. They're major league hitters, and you need a guy to come in and get you outs and do it effectively. And Jose Ureña has done that very, very well. And we've got a guy, Mike Lorenzen, tomorrow, who's doing something similar. I feel like Mike Lorenzen has been pitching very well also. Not as well as Ureña's past 3 games, I don't think. Although I'll look at Mike Lorenzen's last few starts right now. I'm curious at this point, so we'll see. But Mike Lorenzen's been equally pretty solid for us. I don't think a lot of people expected Mike Lorenzen to be a big contributor to this Rangers rotation. I mean, I think we all thought, okay, solid depth, but I don't think any of us thought we'd be getting what we've been getting. So Lorenzen had the one blow up in Oakland. So you take out that. I mean, against Cleveland, 7 innings pitched, no earned runs. Against KC, 6 innings pitched, 1 earned run. And then in between those two starts, he gives up the 6 earned runs to Oakland. So look, Lorenzen still 19 innings pitched his past 3 starts, 7 earned runs allowed. Not terrible. Not terrible. So Lorenzen, I think, is going to make a very competitive start tomorrow. I would really like to see tomorrow not be a super close game. Give the bullpen guys a breather. We don't need to be burning Yates and Robertson again if we can help it. Let's win a game by 5+ runs. I give the Rangers my permission. You don't have to make every game come down to the wire. It's okay to blow out a team every once in a while. So look, this is kind of a funny idea. By the way, appreciate you, bud. Thank you for all the comments. Means a lot. Thanks for tuning in. So Lorenzen, he was a two-way player. I forget though which team he was with, but I don't know if it was like a Mike Lorenzen decision, like where he said, "I just want to focus on pitching." I think the team may have come to him at some point and said, "Dude, just focus on throwing right now." So I'm gonna see if I can find it out while we're talking. But I know he did do some two-way for a few years, but I think he gave that up eventually. I don't know when he stopped or why exactly he stopped, but look, get him in the cage at this point. Why not? Hey, Mike, can you swing a bat? I mean, I believe he's a righty. Maybe he can help us against left-handed pitchers. That's awesome. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad. Maybe, hey, we were talking about what solutions will the Rangers have against lefties, and sure enough, Mike Lorenzen. Mike Lorenzen. We had him under our nose this entire time. Totally forgot. Mike Lorenzen can do a little hit and get him in the cage tomorrow. See what he can do. Just saying, look, you'll do about anything right now. The Rangers are in a bad way against left-handed starters. They absolutely are. Um, let me go to a couple other ones here. Yep, the Reds. I remember he did come up with them. Then he went to like the Phillies, and then I think he went to Detroit, and one of those teams made him stop. So I don't know which one it was, but one of those teams made him stop. So, anyways, we just actually were talking about Stars and Mavs, by the way. Awesome to see both of those teams in the Western Conference Finals. Wouldn't it be crazy? I mean, I don't know if that's ever happened where all teams like that, like three of the major sporting teams win a championship. So Rangers in October, you would have Mavs and Stars what in June. I don't know if that's ever happened. I would be super curious to hear if three of a city sports teams have ever won a championship in the same year. That'd be pretty crazy. That would be wild. Look, I'm not going to get my hopes up, but I would love it for the city of Dallas Fort Worth, my hometown. Absolutely would love to see it. No doubt. No doubt. So excited to see what the Mavs do against either the Nuggets or the Wolves. That game 7, I believe, is tomorrow. Kind of nice the Mavs get a little extra rest going into that series. It was looking like it was going back to OKC. It was not looking good there for a second, but I am really, really happy for Dallas Fort Worth fans. I put myself in that mix. I think some of y'all know I'm out in Vegas now. I've been out in Vegas for the past 15 years and definitely have latched on to the Golden Knights. The Stars are my childhood team, but the Golden Knights I've definitely adopted. Respect to the Stars for beating them. It was a great series, but I absolutely am pumped for the Stars. No doubt. Like I said, I cheered for the Stars for many, many years as a kid growing up. So I love the Stars. Glad to see them doing so well. I'm behind them 100% of the way. And you really could not ask for a better start to this summer coming in with Mavs and the Stars in the Western Conference Finals. Hopefully, we can get these Rangers on a little winning streak, guys. I'm still waiting for it. I mean, I am really waiting for this Rangers team to get on a 5, 6, 7 game winning streak. It's not coming easily. Um, yeah, it kind of the story behind it, honestly. So, I've like I said, been out here for about 15 years. 2017, I know some of y'all might remember, some of y'all Stars fans that are Rangers fans as well. So 2017, there was that crazy mass shooting here on the Strip, and literally like a day later, the Golden Knights opened up their season, their very first ever game in Dallas. That was a pretty wild game. The Golden Knights actually ended up winning that game in Dallas. Dallas did a really amazing tribute, but it was just a special, special time for the entire city here in Vegas with that Golden Knights team, like winning their first 7 or 8 games and then going all the way to the Stanley Cup final. They eventually lost to Washington that year, but it was just hard not to get behind that. It was a really a bonding, rallying thing for a lot of people in the city, and having been here for a while, just hard to not support the Knights with all that background. But I love the Stars. I actually hate it when the Stars and Knights have to play each other. I prefer to just get to root for each team separately, and I just hope that they never meet in a big moment. So, of course, the past 3 seasons, the Knights and the Stars have met like every single time. I feel like the past like 3 or 4 postseasons, Stars and Knights end up showing down. So it is what it is, but I'm happy for the Dallas Stars. I really hope that this can be the year for them. Edmonton would be tough. Vancouver would be tough. I think the Stars have a great team, though, and I love how well they play on the road. Love how well they play on the road. When you can win tough games, tough hockey games away from your home ice, that's a dangerous, dangerous thing to have on your side. So I really think that the Stars have as good of a chance as any of the remaining teams. And I'm hoping this is their year. Mavs too. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm just going through the comments right now. Minnesota North Stars, man. You forget that that's where they came from sometimes. But yep, 93 was it? 93 was it when the North Stars moved to Dallas? That just boggles my mind still. I know there's probably maybe there's a good reason, maybe why they moved. But come on, Minnesota, why would you move from Minnesota to Dallas? I don't know if that quite makes sense to me. I'm not complaining. Dallas got a hockey team, but still, little bit odd that Minnesota was without hockey for a little bit there. I mean, that's one of the like hockey states of our country. Like seriously. So, anyways, we don't need to get into all that. But looking forward to tomorrow. Maybe I'll try to get on while we're finishing out the eighth or ninth inning tomorrow. So if y'all got the Rangers game on, want to pull your phone up, watch the rest of the game with us, we'll probably try and get on maybe eighth, ninth inning, something like that. It's been a while since we did that. The last time we did it was that 12-11 Oakland win. Y'all remember that? We were winning like 12-7 going into the ninth inning. And then I think, who was it that came in? Was it Owen White that came in and just couldn't get an out? And then Yates came in. The game ended up being like 12-11. That was the last time that we went live during a Rangers game. And I think it scarred me a little bit. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready for it again. I want to think that it brings the positive vibes to a game, but I was about to have a heart attack on the live watching the Rangers blow that 12-7 lead in Oakland. But we'll tough it out. We'll make it happen. We'll try and get on maybe eighth inning, ninth inning, hopefully during a Rangers win. That would be preferable. But we're always going to show up, rain or shine, y'all. That's a part of being a fan. You got your valleys, you got your peaks. You got to be there for all of it to really appreciate those moments like what we all experienced last October, right? Or last November. Rangers winning their first World Series. It's just all the more sweet going through all of those years of pain that we went through together since they came to Arlington in the early 70s, man. I tell you what, that's all a part of being a fan. Stick with your team through the ups and the downs. It makes it all the more special. when they finally get the job done. Well, all right, y'all. We're going to go enjoy the rest of the Saturday evening here. We appreciate you guys all tuning in. Hey, do me a favor. If you're not following or if you're not subscribed to the channel already, I would love it if you followed along. That way you can stay up to date with all of our content every time we go live. And if you know somebody that's a Rangers fan, maybe somebody that hasn't heard of us and heard of what we're doing here, we would appreciate you sharing this account, sharing this channel, this video with somebody else that you know loves the Rangers too. Let's build this community. Let's get as many good people in here talking Rangers baseball as we can. That was my dream when I first set this thing all up, and I would love for it to come true. Let's get as many Rangers fans in this chat as possible. And it's awesome, especially after nights like tonight where you probably didn't deserve to get a win, but you got one. It's great. I love it. Well, hey, hope y'all have a good rest of the Saturday night. We'll see y'all tomorrow, maybe in the 8th or 9th inning, something like that, for sure after the game. And hope y'all have a good rest of the weekend too, if I don't see you before then. And as we always say, God bless. Go Rangers. Hope y'all have a great